Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmani Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmani Tatpadamburuhadvandva Seva Nirmala Chetasam Sukhabodhaya Tattvasya Vivekoyam Vidhiyate. 44 and 45. Jagato yadupadanam maya madaya tamasim nimittam shuddha sattvam tam uchyate brahma tadgira yada malina sattvam tam kama karmadi dushitam adatte tatparam brahma tvam padena tadochyate. So we saw very clearly the differences between what and what? Jiva and Ishvara. Or rather, if we follow the order here, between Ishvara and Jiva. So Ishvara is so the differences are nothing other than Upadhi based differences. What is Upadhi? Red flower. What is the red flower? That which makes the crystal red. Japa kusumam. That's how before, in the olden days, they used to have a hibiscus flower behind the crystal, Japa kusumam. And so this Japa kusumam would make the crystal red, quote unquote, color the crystal red without really the crystal undergoing any change at all. So the flower becomes the Upadhi and the crystal becomes what? Upahita. Upahita. And then, so this is technical Sanskrit. So Upahita, that which has, as it were, taken on the Upadhi. That upon which the Upadhi is hung is called Upahita. Upahita Chaitanya. And then Upadhi means that something is borrowed from something without really it becoming that. And so the dharma of something else is taken on. So here the so-called attributes, in Ishvara's case, the so-called attributes of nimitta, in terms of function. So the nimitta karanam, the cause, the attribute is what is here? Causality. And that we already said it has assumed causality when we studied the Mahavakya before this one. Which one was that? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. When we studied that, we said that Sat now has, when we say Satyam, we are imposing a causality on this Brahman. So here that same causality is being discussed in the 44th verse as this Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam. Material cause and knowledge cause. So the knowledge skill is called Nimitta Karanam, and then what is the other one? Upadana Karanam. So don't think when we say there are Upadhi for Ishvara, it's not hands and legs. It is Karanatvam. Brahmanaha Karanatvam, as though, iva, Praptam. So when this causality is, as it were, attributed to Brahman, and what is the attributing factor? What is the Japa Kusumam here? Maya. Maya in two forms. First, what is the form? The form is Sattva. The Sattva aspect of Maya imbues Brahman with the status of omniscience, all power, all compassion, and all knowledge, all this, all might, the ability to bring forth, sustain, and take back this universe. This is all Karanatvam. This Karanatvam is real or as though? Definitely as though. The attributeless Brahman has now causality in the status of cause, as it were, superimposed upon that which is free of, inherently free of being cause of anything. Brahman, is it the cause of anything? No. Is it the effect of anything? No. It simply is. But on this Brahman we see the cause. We put the cause on this Brahman, so to speak. The Brahman attains the status of being a cause because of Maya Shakti. Both the material cause, in terms of the raw material, again Brahman is the cause, and in terms of the knowledge of how to use, shape this raw material, then that again Maya is the cause. So what happens to Brahman? It becomes Maya Upahita Chaitanyam. Again a technical term, important to remember, so that we are not at sea when we study something else. Maya Upahita Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam, which is Shuddha Chaitanyam, unconditioned, as it were, consciousness without any qualifications, without any attributes, is as though invested with, endowed with, invested with and endowed with two aspects of Maya. One aspect of Maya, the Shuddha Sattva of Maya, endows Brahman with all knowledge and gives it the status of omniscient cause. All-knowing, omniscient cause. And the shadow aspect of Maya, which is what? The inert aspect, no, the tamas aspect of Maya, which is what is called the inert raw material, manifests itself as Upadana Karanatvam. So the Karanatvam means the status of being Karana, status of being what? Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanatvam Praptam. Brahman has as though gained, and now Brahman has a new name. What is the new name? Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. This is what is God. Okay, and then that same Brahman, which is what? The Parichinna, Parichinna, it is Upahita, that same Brahman is Upahita. This is again Upadhi Bheda. Upahita, Malina Sattvena Upahita Chaitanya. Both are what? Upahita Chaitanya. This Upadanam and Nimitta, and then also the Jiva are all what? Upahita only. Upahita means endowed with. And that endowment is Mithya. The endowing agent in the form of the various attributes of Maya are also what? Mithya. Nothing is, it is not, it is all just as though. And then, so in case of the Jiva, what is happening? The Malina Sattva. A Sattva that is impeded. Impeded by what? Embrace of Ajnanam. That is what we were seeing in the last class. So the Avidya is embracing this Jiva. And then what is happening? Embracing means the Jiva is identifying with this Avidya. Identified with this Avidya, the Jiva immediately thinks, I am finite, I am an idiot, I am no good, I am not included, nobody cares about me. All these feelings come because of Avidya. Sattva, all right, because the mind has to be sattva, it has to be the appropriate place where this Brahma Bimba, so to speak, the consciousness has to reflect in the mind. So definitely it is sattva. What kind of a sattva? A vitiated sattva, an inhibited sattva, a sattva that is challenged. What is it challenged by? Purva samskaras. First, avidya. The first challenge is avidya. Identified with this avidya, completely in the grip of this avidya, the jiva makes bad decisions. What is the first bad decision? To be born in order to, I want another life. Why? I have all these desires to fulfill. Bad decision. And then what? So many, and based on that, various bad decisions, piled bad decisions. Instead of addressing the insecurity and querying and questioning the insecurity, what is the jiva doing? Keeping on going along with the insecurity, taking the insecurity which is mithya to be real, and then wants real solutions for this mithya insecurity. There are no real solutions because there is no real problem to speak of. Where will real solutions come when there is no problem itself? But you see, everything is backward. So that's why the babies are all born upside down. Yes, head comes out first. You see, because they swathed in avidya. They see the world upside down when they come out for the first time, and this is very interesting correlation. It's like that, what is that? There was a spider along with its baby, they were going on the ceiling. And the baby spider asks the mummy spider, why all these human beings are walking upside down? So it's like that. It's like that. This is the whole problem. Who is upside down? The spider is upside down, but from its viewpoint, it thinks the whole world is upside down. And the jiva's priority is upside down. And then the way to go about these priorities upside down. When the priority itself is wrong, then the remedial measures one takes for those priorities are also what? Wrong. Everything is dushita. From start to finish, it is vitiated first by avidya, the embrace of avidya. Embrace means the total identification with avidya. When a baby is born, it suffers from two kinds of ignorance. One is ignorance of its surroundings. It doesn't know who mummy is, it doesn't know who daddy is, whoever picks it up, it will go to them. And then it doesn't know the truth of itself. I am Bhagavan, it doesn't know. I am non-separate from Bhagavan, it doesn't know. The first kind of ignorance keeps dropping as it grows up. As it grows up, daddy ignorance drops, mother ignorance drops, sister, brother ignorance drops. All the ignorances keep dropping. Civics ignorance drops, so geography ignorance drops as it goes to school. Science ignorance drops, all these things drop. But self-ignorance also what? Drops? No. You have to make an attempt to understand it. You have to choose to know. Self-ignorance will not go away. So therefore, the jiva is in the permanent clasp of avidya until the jiva itself struggles to be free, and then the purva samskaras kick in, and then ashram, guru, shastra, everything is presented. So until then, the jiva is, what is that? Sleeping, the eternal sleep of avidya. Eternal means non-beginning here. Thankfully, it comes to an end. So this kama karmadi. So kamena dushitam. Kama itself is the vitiating factor, because as we will see in the afternoon class, sometimes there is a synergy in everything. So the 6th chapter is also about to come to some similar things. So whenever there is sankalpa, In the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, whenever there is sankalpa means some kind of an intention. Intention is, how does the intention manifest? In the form of a thought. Oh, hot chocolate will be very nice to have because it's a cold day. Where will you go for hot chocolate? Yeah, that's the question. I have to go very far to get hot chocolate. And then what? Full of classes, no time. When will I go? What class to miss? Sanskritam I have already missed. I am already at sea. What should I do? Like this. So everything starts as a thought. And if we are able to do what the Jnani does, what does the Jnani do? Prajahati yada kaman. Sarvan kaman. Prajahati. What kind of kaman? Manogatan kaman. So, Manogatan kaman means the kama is yet to advertise itself. The kama is not yet born. It cannot even be called a full-fledged kama because it's still like a bird learning to fly. It's testing its wings in the nest and trying to take off, but it can't. It is still in the nascent stages. And at that level itself it should be dropped. This is what the Jnani does. And so, when the person is able to do that, able to completely drop the desires even at the thought level, at the level of sankalpa, intention, then it is easy to free oneself from the clutches of avidya. But that's not most people, that's only a few jnanis who have understood this. For most of the people, they start to build the sankalpa more and more. The sankalpa does some push-ups and pull-ups to gain strength and some presses, all these things it does, and the sankalpa becomes strong. Now, from sankalpa to full-fledged kama, it has come. It is now what? Not just a sankalpa anymore. What is it now? Full-fledged desire. Now, little harder to knock off. And so, then it leads, a full-fledged desire will definitely lead one to what? Karma. Because from kama to karma, it's a right royal passage. No, like when a VIP's motorcade goes, like Modi comes or some big personage comes, even chief minister comes. So there will be 3-4 cars ahead to dismiss everybody and 3-4 cars behind, and before itself it will have been come in the paper that these roads, half the roads in the city will be closed. Why? Prime Minister is coming, Chief Minister is coming. So like this, when the sankalpa becomes a kama, all the roads are clear for it to just rush to the destination and fill it up. So the kama deploys a motorcade of ragadveshas. Ragadveshas take the kama safely, to the fulfillment. So kama splits into ragadvesha, and then what does it do? It uses it, the object of desire rides on the ragadveshas to gain its culmination. And then what happens? After getting one desire met, few more desires arise and it becomes a samsara loop. Kama, karma, and then we have to add karma phala, punarjanmadi, dushitam. So the same Maya which gave Ishvara what? Ishvaraness, which gave Brahman, imparted Brahman, equipped Brahman with Ishvaraness, is giving Jiva a very sad lot, a bad lot. It's almost like Maya is a seamstress, tailor. And then she measures, Ishvara and then makes him a wonderful cloak, best silk, velvet, with all kinds of gold embroidery. And for the border is all galaxies hanging, various solar systems and galaxies. Ishvara's cape. This is the cape. Jiva says, I also want a cape. Where is my cape? Why are you not making me a cape? Maya says, no problem. But I have already used the best of cloth for Ishvara. Tell me something about yourself so that I can make it according to what you think. Well, kama karma adi dushitam. I am. And then what? I am sad. I am upset. Why? Because embraced by avidya. And so, what kind of a cape does the jiva have? A joker's cape full of patchworked leftovers. Patchworked cape, joker's cape, lined with tears. Teardrops is the border for which cape? You take off the first cape, what is there? Brahman. You take off the sad cape, what is there? Brahman. So, jivatvam mithya, ishvaratvam mithya. Don't say Ishvara is mithya. Jiva is Ishvara. Ishvaratvam, the status of being Ishvara, is mithya. The status of being Jiva is mithya. All that is mithya. So, this Jiva and Ishvara are what? They are one. Are one Param Brahma. So, Tattvamasya Vakyaihi, what happens? Then we Lakshyate, we saw that, and then what is Tatpada, we saw. Tatpada, what is indicated by Tatpada? Nimitta Karana, Upadana Karana. Brahman equipped with Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana is indicated by Tatpada. What does that mean? Ishvara is indicated by Tatpada. What is indicated by Tvampada? That same Maya along with all its inhibitions and embracing the Jiva. So Jiva, the finite being, is indicated by Tvampada. But both are what? Same Brahman. Both are same Brahman. And there is no difference except for this Maya Upadhi. The Maya Upadhi itself is mithya. It is Brahmashraya. Maya Upadhi is not an independent actor. It does not have some other bearings, some other source other than Brahman. This we have to remember. Then further 46. Tritayim apitam muktva Paraspara virodhinim Akhandam Satchidanandam Mahavakyena Lakshyate Tritayim apitam muktva Paraspara virodhinim Akhandam Satchidanandam Mahavakyena Lakshyate. So now we have seen three kinds of Maya. What are they? Shuddha Sattva, Tamas and Malina Sattva. Three aspects or three iterations of Maya we have seen. Shuddha Sattva as it pertains to investing Brahman with Ishvarahood. Then Tamas as it pertains to the inert raw material in the form of the five elements out of which this entire Jagat has been crafted. And what is the third one? Malina Sattva, mixture of Tamas and Rajas and Sattva in the form of what? What does that association with that give rise to? Jivatvam. So we have seen three iterations of Maya. Which one is mithya? All of them are mithya. Each and every one of them is dependent upon Brahman for its very being, and so all of them are mithya. And here in the 46th verse, this is what is indicated. Tritayim. Tritayim means she who is in three forms. the three-formed one, the threefold one, what should we do with it? Muktva. Muktva. It doesn't say samtyajya or tyaktva. What does it say? Muktva. Why? Because you don't have it to throw it away. It has you. It has you. It has you fooled. It has you in its grip. It has you fooled thinking Ishvara is away from you. It makes you cry, longing for God, instead of understanding that there is no God other than this Chaitanya, which is you. God cannot be other than you. That is all hidden. So she causes a lot of havoc here, and so what does she do? She has you in her clutches. Because we have to understand this. Who needs this knowledge? We have to understand. Ishvara needs this knowledge? No. Why? Because already no ignorance is there. Shuddha sattva, because of association. Does the raw material, does the Jagat need this knowledge? No. Why? Jadatvat, because of being inert. Who needs this knowledge? The Jiva. Who is this Jiva? Associated with the ignorance, kama, krodha, etc. That is the one that needs a correcting of the vision. Because one has subscribed to a vision of division. And so, what to do? All three, one has to free oneself, muktva, freeing oneself. Freeing oneself from the clutches of all three. We have to free ourselves from what? The idea of nimitta karana and upadana karana and a real Ishvaratvam. We have to free ourselves of the idea that I am forever wedded to kama, karma and what else? Ajnanam, etc. Punarjanma. And I have to also free myself thinking that the raw materials are because of this. So I have to free myself of these three notions, Maya notions. Notions of Maya. First these three were talked about in great detail. And what are we doing? Throwing it away. This is the beauty of Vedanta. Ajnanam is described, and its byproducts are described, and the sadness of samsara is described, the dangers of reproducing this samsara are described, and then all of them are thrown away. What remains in their wake is Shuddha Chaitanya. That's all that remains. The identification is totally thrown away. And so, in the same vein here, it says, Tritayim apitam muktva, freeing oneself from all these three. All these three means what? I have to free myself from the Jagat. Where will I go to free myself from the Jagat? I'll go to the Himalayas. Himalayas is part of the Jagat or not? Part of Upadana Karanam or not? No, I'll go to Mars. They are starting flights very soon, I heard. I'll go to Mars. Mars is part of the Jagat or not? Yes. Where are you going to go? Wherever you go, that is where the Jagat is. You can't free yourself from the Jagat, which is what? Upadana Karanam of Ishvara. Can you free yourself from Nimitta Karana? Can you free yourself from Ishvara's knowledge? No. In fact, this whole body is a byproduct of what? Ishvara's knowledge. So you can't free yourself. You can't say, Ishvara, I want to get away from the Jagat, which is Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana of Ishvara. You can't physically do that. You can't do that in any which way. It's not possible. And similarly, what will I do? So therefore, what can I do? I can get out of the entanglement or identification with Malina Sattva. Here we have to say yes, because that is in our hands. So you cannot make the Jagat go away. You can make you, who was seeing the Jagat full of holes, you can make that vision of division go away. You can't make the Jagat go away. Because the Jagat is whose Srishti? Your Srishti or Ishvara Srishti? Ishvara Srishti. How can you make something that you didn't create go away? You can't. Ishvara Srishti will remain because it is at Ishvara's will. And then, what about me? Jiva. Jiva also has a will. Correct? And most of the time the will expresses as I won't. I won't. The will expresses itself as won't, can't, won't do it, can't do it. Meaning what? Creating a parallel reality to Ishvara. Can't really create a parallel reality to Ishvara. There is only one reality. But because of the force of the will, kama karmadi dushitam, dushita maya, that which is vitiated by kama and karma, it takes me, as it were, away from Ishvara. How does it take me away from Ishvara? Because I find that it is very difficult to find my place in the scheme of things. I have my own idea of what I want to be, where I want to go, how I want to lead my life. And no matter what I do, there are obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Do I learn from the obstacles? No. I keep putting more power and more effort in the face of all the obstacles. Oh, then we have to be passive. I'm not telling be passive. That's not what Shruti is telling. It's not about being passive. It's about making intelligent decisions to keep oneself on track of where one is supposed to be led in life. It is about making proper decisions after deliberation. And so if something is keeping on blocking the path, we say that the name of the block is Ishvara. Ishvara only is the block. Oh, but Ishvara has given me the free will to remove the block. Okay, remove. I can't. Okay, then learn to deal with it. That's the idea. Learning to be where one has been placed without constantly struggling against it, itself is a way to come back. Itself is a way to defeat Maya, really. Because when I am in my own, how was it described? Kama karmadi dushita world. I am in my own world, then what kind of a world am I in? A subjective world of wishful thinking, a subjective world that is driven by desires and pressures, also known as what? Pratibhasika. Everybody is in this. This is part of life. And the growth is from living in this pratibhasika to vyavaharikam sat. Vyavaharikam sat means the empirical reality. I slowly come back to the empirical reality and understand Ishvara in the form of various orders and stop rubbing against Ishvara all the time as though Ishvara were some authority figure with which I have to settle some accounts. So therefore, I disarm, I let the cudgels down, I let my guard down, and then there are not two realities, two paths, there is only Ishvara's will, and I pray for my will to be aligned with Ishvara's will. It's a very beautiful process of growth. That is what is called surrender. And then, when that happens, when the will are aligned, there is freedom, mukti. Mukti is here, muktva. There is freedom. What is the freedom? Of not fighting against the circumstances all the time. There is a freedom. I am learning to go with the flow. And if I go with the flow, keep going with the flow, it's not too long before I discover what? I am one with the flow. I am non-separate from the flow. This is the vision. And so, therefore, I have to free myself from these these three tricksters, the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana appears to the Jiva as what? Remote Ishvara, Paroksha Ishvara. And then the Malina Sattva appears to the Jiva as what? I am an idiot, I'll never learn anything, I am bad, I am sad, and because I am bad and sad, I am also mad. This is the association with Jivatvam. And the third one is connecting or depending upon the objects in the universe, the inert objects in the universe, to make me what? Not happy, but free from all these. The world becomes a distraction to free myself from the sorrow and the pain of unmet, unfulfilled, unfulfillable desires. This is what the problem is. And so therefore here it says that Tritayim api tam muktva, freeing oneself from Maya. How to free oneself from Maya? Study Patha Vedantam. That's all it is. Study Vedanta. That is the only way to free ourselves from all these threefold clutches of Maya. That's the only way. Vedantam Patha. But then as I am doing that, I can help myself to indirect or auxiliary sadhanas to help me to assimilate this knowledge, and that is in the form of bhakti and shraddha and puja and all these things. I can help myself. And so then why do I have to remove these three forms of Maya cognitively? Why should I not come under their spell? Because they are paraspara virodhini. Paraspara virodhini means virodhinyaha. Why? Because they are mutually paraspara, mutually virodha, contradictory. Paraspara virodhini means these forces are contradictory. How are they contradictory? One is complete ajnanam and the other one is what? All jnanam. One contradiction. And one of them is the Lord of the world, and what is the other one? Lorded by the world. Both are world lords. You just, do the vichheda. Vichheda means what? You resolve the compound differently. So these three things that are there, firstly getting over the self-loath of what? I am an idiot. I don't have anything wonderful. Nothing good happens to me. I am always in trouble. I am always being taken advantage by this one, that one, so many things. Like this the person feels. So this is one aspect of Maya, the clutches of one aspect of Maya, and the other two aspects of Maya are what? Alienation from Ishvara as Nimitta Karana, and then taking the Jagat to be a source of consumption. Taking the Upadana Karanam to be the source of joy and something to consume. This Jagat is my playground, and all the people in the Jagat are my toys. All the people and other things. They are all what? Toys that are laid out specially for me. I am the one who is going to play with all these toys. These toys are laid out specially for me. Iti, the jiva goes about in the wrong way with wrong identification. So the first mukti from the first one, what is that? The nimitta karana, Ishvara as nimitta karana happens when I see the mithyatvam of this karanatvam. When I see that the Atma is not an epiphenomenon, there is no epi or supra or anything like that. The Atma is what? Chaitanya, and this Chaitanya, this consciousness associated as it were with all might, all power, makes for Ishvara, the same Brahman. And I am that same Brahman. And therefore what? And therefore the next step in gaining this mukti is surrender to Ishvara as nimitta karana and also as upadana karana. How do you surrender to Ishvara as upadana karana? You Ishvaraize the whole universe. Everything that you encounter is Ishvara. What you see is Ishvara. What you interact with is also Ishvara. Where you go is Ishvara. From where you came, Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. So first, to free ourselves from this separation, what do? We see everything as Ishvara. So the Pratibhasika gone. Now we are only looking at what? Vyavaharika, objectively. Everything is Ishvara. And then the next step is, everything includes me or not? Yes? First it includes my body-mind complex. The body-mind-sense complex is also what? Ishvara. And therefore, I am included in this Ishvara as this consciousness. And so therefore, this I have to do, and then freeing myself from the clutches of Maya by seeing the mithyatvam of its three iterations. What happens? And which are what? Paraspara virodhini. Each one is opposed to the other. Jiva is opposed to Ishvara. Jagat seems very vast and scary to the Jiva. Jiva is disconnected from the Jagat. Jiva's Jagat is a small little Jagat. This neighborhood, this hometown, this place, these people, this is, everybody wants to live in a small cocoon-like Jagat. If you are alone in Ishvara's Jagat, it becomes very, very difficult to go further in this. How to go? Because there is a feeling of remoteness, there is a feeling of isolation. So therefore, this mukti is needed. From what? From this very isolation and this difference. This looking at everything differently, that is the isolation. And that mukti is needed on all three levels, on the Ishvara level and on the Jiva level and on the Jagat level. So first, in order to accomplish these three freedoms, what do? We make Ishvara and Jagat into one. So the Jagat is what? Ishvara. Ishvara is the Jagat. The two are what? One. So now we have to deal with only two things. So this Jagat, which is Ishvara, and then myself, Jiva. Only two things, because the Jagat has become what now? Ishvara. We have Ishvarized the Jagat. So three we have made into two. Nimitta Upadana Karana are now one. The Upadana Karana is not different. Jagat is not different from Ishvara. And then maker, material are all one. And so those two are one. Those two means what? Sattva Shuddhi of Maya. And then the Tamaf Pradhana of Tamaf Pradhana Maya are one. This is what Ishvara and Ishvara's Srishti are one and the same. Srishti is not separate from Bhagavan. So this is the first step. The three you make into two. And then now what is there? Me. And then Ishvara. Me and Ishvara. How do you resolve that? You resolve that, of course, with Vedanta Shastra. But then here, this is where we see it is Paraspara Virodha. What is the Virodha? I am small knowing, small headed, small brained. And then what else? Ishvara is all knowing, like the ocean and the wave. The wave has to understand that it is not really a separate wave, it is water. Wave has to understand it is water. Then only the oneness will come. The pot has to understand it is not pot at all. What is it? Clay. Then only the oneness will come. So here also one has to let go of all the variable distancing factors such as the body, the mind, the senses, the emotions are all surrendered to Ishvara. This step is called settling accounts with Bhagavan. This is what Pujya Swamiji would emphasize a lot. Settling accounts means what? There are many accounts to settle in the universe, starting with the primary caregivers. Many accounts are there to settle. This one did this to me, that one did that to me. This one didn't do anything to me, but then I have a bad feeling whenever I see them. They must have done something or the other in the last life. So like this, the whole Jagat, how are you going to resolve each and every problem you have with each and every person? Can you do that? Absolutely not. Even if one were to live for 1,000 years instead of 100 years, even if you were to, the lifespan would, let's say, miraculously increase, multiplied by 10, you still cannot resolve all the difficulties that you have with the people, with the Jagat, with everything. So that's why you go to the source. You go to the source. You just resolve, with Ishvara. That's all it is. You don't worry about all these other things. And that's why, to illustrate this, we have a beautiful story. Baby Ganesha and his brother, what was his name? Baby Subramanya, baby Kartikeya, they were there, and then there was one celestial mango. Mango cannot be shared, you can't cut it into half. Apple you can share easily. Mango cannot be shared. So what did the parents say? Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati said, whoever makes 3 rounds of the universe will get this first, will get this mango. Kartikeya, being of an impulsive kind, and of course he has a nice mascot. What is that? Peacock. The peacock. Climbed on his peacock, said, let's go. No time to waste. And this fatso that is sitting here in the form of my brother will not do anything. I know. What is his thing? Mouse. Ganesha must not be thin, really. If you go to the shop to buy a Ganesha, don't buy a slim one, no. He has to be nicely endowed. Lambodara. Why? Because all your punyas are in the form of stored fat. That's what it is, yeah. So whenever you look at him, he gives punya. That is why he is well endowed. Once I saw somebody brought this Ganesha with an umbrella. So slim. I said, return it, this is not, can I keep it on my altar? I said, where did you get this from? I didn't even think. So thin, it didn't look like Ganesha at all. Yeah, I said, no, exchange it for a nice fat one. And so, anyhow, the Kartikeya says, what is this fellow going to achieve? Nothing. And he's going to sit on the mouse, and the mouse is going to have disc herniation in its back with this fellow sitting on it. Absolutely. This mango has my name on it. He goes off. And then what? And then he comes back. He goes, makes 3 rounds of the whole universe, comes back. And what is Lord Ganesha doing? Yeah, finished off everything. Only the skins are left for the brother. Nicely peeled skins. Nothing, not even a little piece of fruit on the skin by mistake is attached. Everything has been removed. The brother is speechless. What happened here? How? What happened? This fellow is eating already. I came first. How this? He could not have made 1 round even, let alone 3 rounds. How did this happen? And the parents explain. He saw us as the whole universe. Since we are the mother and the father of the universe, he circumambulated us 3 times. Therefore, he got the mango. And this man thought, I'm gonna go. That's what happened. So Kartikeya was very angry. The story is like this. Took his companion, what was that? The peacock, and came to India and settled in a place called Palani. Yes, that is where he is. Yeah, that is where we say, that is where the young angry boy. Angry means it's like this is not fair. You can see from the standpoint of the siblings. I worked so hard, I went everywhere, and this fellow just sat there and used his brains and then got this mango. But this is just a story we tell children from the Puranas. This is just a nice story, but it has a lot of, it has a profound meaning. It has a profound lesson here. And what is the lesson here? The lesson here is to go to the source. The source of the universe is what? Bhagavan. So I resolve my differences, I resolve everything at this altar that is Ishvara. This is even before the knowledge takes place. This is still at the level of adhikaritvam. And it's expressed in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as Mai Ananya Yogena Avyabhicharini Bhaktihi. So without bhakti, there is no mukti. Absolutely. This is what it says, mukti. Get mukti from these opposite things. Between Ishvara and Jiva, so many opposites. Why did you make the world this way? No answer. Why do I have these kinds of parents? No, we don't know. Why do I have this background and the other person has that background? Don't know. Why is it like this? Why I was born in this country and not in, many times people from other countries coming here, they say, why was I not born in India? Why I was born somewhere else? And the person born in India says, when am I going to the United States? When am I going to UK? When am I getting out of here? This is how it is. Perhaps was in India in the last life, but then said, before dying thought, I never went anywhere abroad. I'm just so sad. I have to just go somewhere, I have to experience something. Died off. And then what? Next life, tathastu. Next life, somewhere else born. But then what? And then at age 3 starts to chant Gayatri mantra. The parents are scared because they don't know what language even this child is speaking. This is what happened. About 20 years ago, the parents were worried. Parents in somewhere in, somewhere in Ohio or somewhere in the United States. So the child was a late speaker and then spoke some gibberish, they thought. Then they said, okay, we have waited long enough. They took the child to a child, what is that called? Psychiatrist, who happened to be Dr. Patel. Yeah, Indian man. And then when he heard what they thought was gibberish, the child is uttering Gayatri mantra. Doesn't need treatment, is just remembering his past life. This is what he said and sent them back. But again, playing with the people, other children, and then divorced from that reality, everything was, of course, forgotten. So like this, all the kamas, the samskaras, and then the inability to make peace with my own life, that is what stops me from making peace with Ishvara, because the making peace and coming to a state of acceptance with my life is settling accounts with Ishvara. There is no other account to settle. That's what it is. I can't go one place to another and then settle each and everything. Therefore, I go to the source. And I tell you, we are very lucky because in this tradition, we don't have the concept of blasphemy. You can abuse Bhagavan. You can say, how dare you do this to me? It becomes a prayer. It really does. Yeah. What do you think? What were you thinking? Infallible my foot. What were you thinking? How could you do this to me? What had I done to you? Nothing. This becomes a prayer. And this is the stuff of which the saints are made of in the tradition. I forgot the name of this one particular madman turned saint. Everybody thought he was mad. He lived in an abandoned temple in the outskirts of the town, Shiva temple, and every day, some kind of termite-eaten doors were there and everything. He just went there. And then he would go into the sanctum. What was the sanctum? Overgrown with the shrubs and trees. Shivalinga was there. Who are you? What do you think you're doing? You want Abhisheka? Yeah? Here. And he would spit on the Shivalinga. Here is your bath for the day. Oh, you want some anointment with all kinds of things. Oh, here, take. And he would just take a clump of earth and a clod of earth and throw it at the linga. You want some garland, and he would pick up some thorns and things, make some kind of a makeshift wreath and put it there. Then the town started to grow, and then even temples have their own karma. And then suddenly somebody discovered, temple, we should renovate it, we should have Kumbhabhishekam, we should reconsecrate this temple, and then it will be so nice and wonderful. And somebody said, this is a very ancient temple, it has gone into ruins, shame on us, we should do this. But first, what do we need to do? Get this fellow out of here. And he was a simpleton, he just ate there and slept there and just was there. They blindfolded him and took him somewhere else to some other forest and left him there. He went along with them and remained there. And then the priests came, the architects came, they made all these nice doors and everything, and then windows and place to sit, hall for all kinds of pujas and everything. And then the date of the consecration came. And then ceremonially the door has to be opened. And the door is now glued shut. The priest first goes like this. Nothing happens. Everybody comes and lends a hand. All of them get fall down like dominoes. They are all holding on to one another, and and the last one is holding on to the door, and then it just will not open. And the priest, being a thoughtful person, just goes and sits by himself, and he says, we have done an injustice. No, yes we have. No, don't tell us we have to bring that madman back. Yes, we have to bring that madman back, and he alone can consecrate this temple. So then they brought him back. Happily he came, and then he looked around, and then he said, and then as he approached the temple, he started to yell, what do you think of yourself? Who do you think you are? The door opens miraculously. And so like this, in this tradition, there is no blasphemy. There is no talking bad about God, because this process has to happen. Somewhere I have to settle the accounts, because if I talk bad if you go and tell your parents, oh, you didn't bring me up correctly, and you did this and you did that, what will they say? Especially Indian parents, they are made of strong stuff. Yeah, they will just say, all right, I have made you strong enough to complain. Go. They will say like that. Go deal with it. That is what they will say. They are not going to sit and say, oh, so sad, I am guilty, I shouldn't have done that. No, never. Absolutely not. They will just say, okay, looks like you are strong enough to complain. You are free enough to complain. No, I felt unsafe. You are safe enough to complain right now. Yeah, go deal with it. You can't tell anybody. You can't. The pain of so many births, the pain of just the non-acceptance of everything, the pain, the disappointment, the disenchantment of living in samsara has to be resolved at the feet of Bhagavan, Bhagavati only. The pain of being alienated, the pain of disappointment in one's own mother and father has to be resolved by discovering Ishvara as the mother and the father of the universe. There is no other way of resolving this. That is where. And in the process of this resolution, there has to be a place where the anger will come out, where the sorrow will come out. That's why Bhagavan is a super therapist. In India, it is, smiling face, hand like this. No matter what you tell. You don't think you're so smart. Abhaya mudra. What do you think of yourself? Same smiling face. How dare you do this to me? After a while of this process of catharsis, that last difference between Jiva and Ishvara goes because I am blanketed by bhakti. Bhakti has to be cultivated. It doesn't come naturally for everybody. You may be attending puja. Something is happening there. Milk is being poured and this is happening, that's happening. And you clap at the correct times and then you ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. And then you come out. Yeah. The heart is not transformed. Not at all. The pain and the sorrows when one is in touch with all the things that one cannot resolve, that has to be put at the feet of the Lord. I have to be brought to my knees with this pain and sorrow, then only it can transform into bhakti. Before it is not bhakti, it is the abhivyakti of anger. Everybody carries anger. Everybody has hidden authority issues. Anger is there, fear is there, pain is there, hopelessness is there. Who is going to listen to you? No one except Bhagavan. That is where the last difference between what? Myself and Ishvara is relatively resolved. The resolution is a two-step resolution. Na bibheti kadachaneti. First step is, it makes me relatively fearless because I am in the orbit of Bhagavan. I finally surrender my own, rogue nature of always going away from what is intended for me. I come back to myself. I come back. I was lost, but now I am back. I was not just lost, I was going in the opposite direction. I was not just wandering, I was going in the opposite direction. Now I have come back. And that is the starting point of bhakti, which is a kind of a feeling of being protected. And in the Taittiriya Upanishad, that first level of immersion into Bhagavan, without necessarily the knowledge of Vedanta, it is expressed as Anandam Brahmano Vidvan Na Bibheti Kadachana Iti. Kadachana means at any time there is no fear. Everything is Bhagavan. I am under Bhagavan's umbrella. Bhagavan is an umbrella, I am walking under. What bad thing can happen? Nothing bad can happen. The power of the bhakti, the power of the shraddha transforms me into a trusting person. From ashraddha, I have grown into shraddha. This is a very, very important step. And then with the self-knowledge, with the study of Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Panchadashi, all the things that we teach here, with the study of the Upanishad, the second level of oneness, the ultimate level of oneness is reached, and that is expressed in the Taittiriya Upanishad as Na bibheti kutaschana iti. Kadachana at any time. Means what? I am still in the purview of time. Kutaschana means I am not afraid because the second source of fear is not there. I am one with Bhagavan. All these cognitively I have seen everything to be mithya, mithya, mithya. Different iterations of Maya are like wearing different dresses. You remove the dress, what is there? Consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And so this Brahman, I am one with Ishvara. Therefore, the vision of division gone. There is no more fear, not at any time, because there is no source of fear. The source of fear has to be separate from me. There is no separation. There is nothing other than me. How can there be fear? There cannot be fear. And so this is what is called settling accounts with Ishvara, and the resolution of shoka and bhaya. Bhaya nivritti and shoka nivritti, both are gone. More we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri